Welcome to Modern Leadership Live, where we create collaborative conversations to connect our company culture and the world community. Today, I'm super excited to be joined by Rochelle Seltzer. She is a creative core coach. She's the best-selling author of Live Big, a manifesto to a creative life. She's a fellow mastermind partner, and I'm super excited. She also works with women and executives. So, Rochelle, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, thanks, Nina. I'm so happy to be with you.
Today, we're talking about modern leadership. And so I'd love to hear a little bit about what you think that is and what gets in the way.
Well, I think modern leaders have a huge opportunity to show up as their biggest, best, most dynamic selves, to impact change, to impact the teams that they lead. And instead of an older paradigm of playing it safe and going small for incremental change, when they can be bold leaders who can really inspire other people and their teams, even in themselves, to really create powerfully, they can have a huge impact.
So, bold leaders think big, they create big influence in their teams, and ultimately, they create a big impact.
Yeah, we have such a safety kind of mentality of doing what we did before, but incrementally changing it a little bit instead of inspiring bolder, bigger thinking and being reactive. We're sort of faced with a directive to do something, and we go and do it instead of pausing to think about what's the best way we could actually achieve the results that we're being asked to go for.
So taking a moment, checking in with ourselves, creating time and space to really think about what is the impact I want, how do I want to influence people, and then instead of thinking about, well, this is the way we've always done it, let's just start small, maybe making some big bold steps in the process.
Yeah, and the way that this can happen, I think that a lot of organizations that I've worked with haven't really thought about beforehand, is to, rather than to do all the analysis and think about what worked before and how can we tweak it, is to be able to invite everybody on a team to think more broadly. And a lot of that begins with making it safe for everybody to speak up.
Yes.
No putting down of ideas, no eye rolling even. So if a leader can make it really safe for everybody to participate, some amazing things can happen, because if everybody feels that their idea will not be judged, they might come up with something that's just a small idea. It might not be a great idea, but it might be exactly the idea that's going to be the jumping off point for somebody else to come up with the next big idea. And so when teams can operate that way, bigger, more exciting things can happen.
I love that so much. I love, I'm so excited about what you're saying. I'm trying to move my chair and, because I feel like that what you're saying, creating a safe space for thinking outside the box. That's how all the best industry disruptors have done it. You think about Netflix, you think about Amazon, you think about even Apple, what they've done, right? They pulling from other industries even. And now today with COVID, we have a lot of people in the hospitality industry who are without work. We work with a lot of people who are looking to hire others, and we work with a lot of forward thinking CEOs who are tapping into the hospitality industry, regardless of what industry they're in, to see how they can leverage, the customer wow experience, looking at how they can influence their organization. So I love that you're saying this. Where you're alluding to is if you create a safe space, that means if something doesn't work, then what happens? Do we get lashed, public, or do we praise the out of the box thinking? So I'd love to hear a little bit more from you about how can leaders, once that's done, let's say they're masterful in creating a safe space and thinking outside the box, and they have this really disruptive thing that they think is going to be amazing. How can, regardless of what happens, how can they keep the good work going? What would be your experience based on that?
Oh gosh, there's so much in there, Nina,
I know we can be here for a while.
Well, what I'm thinking is part of it is it takes courage, because people are risk averse. But if you have a leader that says, let's test, let's experiment and test, evaluate, and part of that process is the ability to not get stuck with that first idea necessarily, but to iterate. as you test, as you see what happens, to keep course correcting. So it's a constant process of creating. And I think if everybody's in it together and has that mindset of we're all moving forward toward exciting new possibilities and finding great ways to test them and experiment and make a case for them, part of it too is saying there's no recriminations here. We're in it together. We're doing this together.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Recovery and responsibility. If it, like you said, if it doesn't work, I remember New Coke years ago was a huge failure, and many organizations would have fired that person, but they gave him an award instead. I don't remember his name, but that always struck me as something to just a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah. So it becomes part of a corporate culture, even that
Yeah,
we celebrate bold initiatives,
I love that.
creative thinking.
That's so you. That's so you to think big and innovative. Um, what do you think about some of the old paradigms that get in the way?
I think a lot of people who are leading teams and a lot of people on teams who are aspiring to be leaders just stay in the safe zone.
Mm.
They don't trust themselves. They don't trust their colleagues. And again, part of that is creating that culture of communication and trust and welcoming new ideas and what ifs. And it starts with curiosity. It starts
Ooh.
with the whole mindset of curiosity about what have we not thought about yet? What's possible here? What would be a delight for the people that we serve, or a new way to offer this service that would be really spectacular? If we just stay in the zone of what we do now and how we can think about it in that space, we've got to break out those walls, really. And I think curiosity, having conversations where curiosity is the point, it's a
Ooh.
great starting point.
I love that so much because so when there's a breakdown in a team where there's a lack of trust, as a leader, my responsibility is to get curious and
Yeah.
to get curious about how might we move this forward in a way that would be best for all of us, right? For the good of our organization as well as the good of those we serve. I love that. That's so good.
Thanks. Yeah, I
Um,
see it all the time, and it's an orientation to an approach that people don't often take. And when you start from that premise, big things can happen.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, cool. So, what about a bold prediction for modern leadership in the future? What do you see? What do you think we're going to see more of?
Well, my hope is that we're going to see leaders who really embrace big thinking, creative thinking, inspiration for creativity, as opposed to always sort of that left brain, play it safe. When we can connect to ways to tap into intuition, have
Ooh.
bigger ideas, play, a sense of play and freedom
Oh,
instead of
yes.
safety and scarcity. There's
Right.
so much possibility. And I think it's a kind of a paradigm shift of thinking and approach that people can embrace and get excited about. It does take some guidance, I think. Some people, can hear it in theory, but having some guidance about how putting it into practice can, you know, be implemented is going to be a key. But I do see it as the way that the world should be moving now.
I agree. I see more of that. And that's why you're here, right? If people wanted to learn more about you, where would they go? What would they do?
Well, my website is my name. I don't know if you're going to have it in the notes, Nina.
Yes, I will.
RochelleSeltzer.com.
Yes.
And my book is there. I think the book is a great starting point. I know that there are teams and businesses that are using the book together, and that can be a really nice starting point for conversation and thinking. It all starts with how each individual shows up. So when everybody shows up as their most creative, biggest, most fully expressed self, that's another sort of starting from the bottom and bringing it up that works.
Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you for joining us today. If you will have Rochelle's contact information in the notes, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Nina.